And now comes one of tonight's most alarming development. Iranian media reports they are claiming that Tehran could be preparing long-range missile capabilities designed to threaten targets deep inside the United States itself. In fact, that includes Washington DC and New York City. Can you imagine that? It is very important to say it very clearly that these reports remain unverified. Basically, information warfare. But wait, even as discussion, it is itself a significant one because it reflects how dramatically tensions between Iran, Israel, and the United States have escalated in recent years. According to claims, Iran could be preparing as many as 500. Yes, 500 long range missiles in response to any future military strike. And if that is true, this would represent one of the most dramatic shifts in Iran's strategy posture in decades. Now, if you know, Iran already possesses the largest missile arsenals in the whole West Asia, including ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, large underground missile cities spread across the country. Now, Iran has spent years investing heavily in missile technology because sanctions and military isolation forced Iran to focus on deterrence here. Instead of building massive air force like the Western powers, Iran developed missiles. Iran developed drone capabilities capable of threatening the regional adversaries and military bases, and that too across the West Asia. Now, peace talks remain stalled. Distrust between Tehran and Washington it is extremely high. In the meantime, Israeli military pressure it continues, and every side appears to be preparing for worst-case scenario rather than a compromise. This is why the entire world, by the way, is watching Iran so carefully because any major escalation involving Iran, it immediately affects everything: oil prices, shipping routes, global energy market, regional military. In fact, how can we forget Strait of Hormuz? It alone carries a massive portion of global oil trade, which means instability in this region. It quickly becomes an international economic problem. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the rhetoric itself is becoming more and more dangerous because once capitals like Washington and New York enter the language of missile threat, well, the psychological stakes rise dramatically. Now, to the favorite human of the entire planet, let's talk about Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, who is now facing one of the most difficult moments of his political career. While thousands of angry protesters have flooded Habima Square in Tel Aviv, accusing the entire government of dragging their country deeper into crisis. The streets were filled with very dramatic slogans: Crime Minister, how much blood will be spilled, disaster for the state of Israel. Now, these are not just opposition chanting anymore, they reflect exhaustion, frustration, growing public anger after months of military operation that many Israelis believe have failed to deliver lasting security. Despite the heavy military action, Hamas remains active in Gaza, right? Hezbollah continues to pose a threat from Lebanon. Hostage families remain emotional and frustrated. And many citizens, they are now openly questioning whether Mr. Netanyahu's strategy is actually making Israel safer or pushing the entire country deeper into instability. Now, the political pressure that is also intensifying. Opposition figures, including Democratic leader Yair Golan, he has sharply criticized what he calls the government's extreme nationalism. Rumors are growing about coalition fractures and the possibility of early snap election as soon as September. This matters because Mr. Netanyahu has long built his political image around security and strength. But now he faces criticism, not just internationally this time, but domestically as well. And let me tell you, that changes the entire equation completely. Israeli politics can shift very, very quickly under public pressure, specifically during prolonged conflict situation. Well, the scenes from Tel Aviv reveal something deeper. Israeli society itself is becoming increasingly divided over the future direction of the entire country. Well, some demand even stronger military action. Others fear endless war without clear results. And you know what? That internal division may ultimately become just as politically dangerous as the threats Israel face externally.